Hey guys, this video is going to be how to cut out a hole for a sink in a laminate countertop. This is a brand new cabinets that were installed by myself. I cut this countertop down to fit them. They're about an inch overhang from the side of the cabinet. Now I need to cut the hole for the sink in them. The sinks, this is an old sink, new sinks, same way. This flange here, how they attach with these clips, is usually offset from the very edge by a half an inch. So what you got to do is put this sink on top of the countertop after you tape it up and just trace along the outer edge. And then you're going to come along with a tape measure and measure a half inch on each end and make an inner line, and that's going to be where you cut the countertop. And on the corners, you don't want to cut them square. It has to be, you're going to have to do a rounded over edge. So you got to take something with a rounded edge, like a coffee can. You can even take the tape and stick on there and trace the tape corner, as long as it's not square when you go to cut it. Because if you cut it square, when you go to set this down, you most likely will see a peekaboo hole through the countertop into the cabinet, and then you're gonna have to caulk it or do something, and it'll look like garbage. So I gotta prep some stuff, and I'll be right back. Hey, I'm back. I took the time to remove the faucet off this old sink. Like I said, we're reusing this old sink. We're gonna reuse old clips. This one's busted. You can rebuy clips at the store, any big box store or your hardware store or something. So just gotta make sure your sink is in decent shape. This one has a little rust on the back mounting flange here, but it should be okay. So we're gonna put that aside for a minute. We gotta figure out where the center of this cabinet is from the front facing. So I just go right from here to the middle style between the drawer fronts and stuff, and measure that. You're 2.5 inches, so you're going to be 1 1/4 inches is going to be center of that. Make sure your countertop is in place. It doesn't have to be screwed down or anything, but it needs to be where it's got to be. So if you need to clamp it somewhere or put some screws in it or something, if they're big enough, they're not really going to move. So this is a 42-inch cabinet. Some sink cabinets are only 36. So 36 is going to give you less room for play. 42 is going to give you a lot of room for play. So you got to make sure we got to find the inside part of this cabinet where we can cut without coming into the cabinet. So what we're going to take is a tape measure, measure the overhang of the countertop. This overhang of the countertop, you look straight down, it is like 1 3/8, 1 7/16. So you're going to want to take that number, and you're going to want to come back plus 3/4 inch, which is the thickness of the face frame itself. So you're going to go back at least 2 1/4, 2 5/16 of an inch, and that's going to be the very inside, just beyond the inside of the face frame. You don't want the counter or the sink to be exactly right on that edge. It's got to set back even a little bit more, but we need to know that, say 2 5/16, and we're gonna tape this up and put a line across here to know that we need to be past that. Okay. So, like I said, 2 5/16. So what I'm going to do, make sure your countertop is clean, wipe it down with a rag, because your tape won't stick that well. You're going to take painter's tape. And just take some tape and put it down. I'm putting a bunch of layers here because we're going to need it to mark 1/2 inch from the outside of this thing anyways. Alright guys, I'm back. So I taped it up some. I put this line here by just taking the carpenter square, mark it in like 2 3/8 of an inch, 2 5/16 down through here, so it gives you a front facing squaring off, so you're not going over this beveled edge, and marking it, and then taking a level, drawing a line. Gives me that front. That's the very inside of the cabinet. Okay. Now you're going to want to take, and I also found the center of this style, which is right here also. So we can take that and actually find the center of this sink. The sink is a little over 33 inches, 33 1/8 inches to the outside flange, or outside of the lip. So you're going to want 16 9/16 of an inch is going to be the outside of one of the sides. 1/2 of 33 1/8. 16 9/16. 16 9/16 should be the other. Oh, I got to measure on this. (16 9/16). Round it over the edge. You do the same thing with this. Take your carpenter square, put it on the edge, come in. Gotta do this way because actually it ain't long enough. So 16s and 9/16 is right there. Mark on the bottom of your sink. Put this on the center line, and that should be right on your marks there, which it is on both sides. This side I got enough tape on, this side I don't, so I gotta put a little bit more tape over here. Make sure it's down, you don't want it to come up. This side over here, I'll put one more layer because it's right on that edge, close to the. Got the marker. And now, this is going to be the farthest it can come forward, because that gives you a 1/2 inch from this lip to this flange to go in there. So underneath, when you go to put these clips in here, it gives you a little bit of room to screw on the lip of the countertop that'll be inside. So you can take it back farther, which I'm probably gonna. You can measure to the back of your countertop, and this is 2 3/4 inches. So I have plenty of space back there to shove it back a little bit more so you have a little bit more room in here, because it's a pain to try to screw these clips on in this flange underneath and catch stuff if it's that tight. Sometimes with bigger sinks you have to go really tight, so that'll get you the tightness. But I have, like I said, I got 2 3/4 inches. Your jigsaw, which has a down cut laminate blade in it for cutting this so it doesn't chip on the upstroke, is what you want. And the more teeth, the better. This blade is getting a little whooped, but it'll still work fine. You can use a cheapy old jigsaw like this. I don't use my jigsaw a ton, so I have a couple cheapies. So this here to the center of the blade from your side here, I got 1.5 inches. Will give you, so you got to have at least 1.5 inches so your side of your saw will guide on this so you can cut the line back there. Okay, so I will give it, you know, because I have 2 3/4 inches. Yeah, 2 3/4 inches. I'll give myself another 3/4 inches up here. So I will, off the back here, I'll give 2 inches. Put that aside for a minute. Take your time laying this out so you do it right. So you're gonna wanna put it on the flat part of the back counter and mark 2 inches. Mark 2 inches. That's 2 inches from the back of the counter. Okay? Take your sink top, put this line to the dead center mark. This line and this line over here should still match up. Push it back to your lip. Goes right up against that. Okay? Now just take your marker. And mark on the painter's tape. Now you have the cut for the outside lip, not for the cut mark. Now you got to come in 1/2 inch. So take your tape measure, come in 1/2 inch and mark. Come in 1/2 inch and mark. Take your level or some kind of straight edge. Mark in 1/2 inch. Same on the sides. Come in 1/2 inch. 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 This is going to make it really tight. On new sinks, usually the template's going to be part of the box maybe, or they'll give you a fold-out piece of paper that'll do that. But this, for using used sinks, this is the way to go. I'm going to make sure I cut on the outside of these lines when I go to cut them. Take your time doing it, measure multiple times if you need to. Like I said, you don't want to cut square corners. This is showing the 1/2 inch mark is gonna give barely cover. You don't want that. Like I said, take tape, take a can, take a glass, take something, and do round over corners. So put it on both lines, the 1/2 inch in, 1/2 inch here, and do rounded over corners. So I'll round it over corners. If all these lines on here are messing you up, just take your tape. I'm ripping that off because it's got black lines, so I use it as a template for that. Just take the black tape and cover up those lines. That will mess you up. Make sure you cover up these ones here by the corner for the roundness, because you'll be going along like, oh, I didn't dig the corner, and then you went straight, and then you could have just ruined your countertop. Tape's fairly cheap, so don't worry about using so dang much tape. It is what it is. That'll make it so you're not confused so much with all the dang lines that you got marked down there. Alright? Just makes it simpler for you. And that's what you need to cut out. Like I said, I'm going to cut on the outside of this line due to the fact that I'm just under a 1/2 inch on those. These flanges will push in usually a little bit when you have to force them down in. You'd rather have a tight fit than a loose fit, because when you go to put those clips on there, you don't want to have trouble where you are going to catch the underside of the countertop. So now what you're going to have to do is you're going to either drill a hole so you can get your blade down in there, or you plunge cut your bit. Like I said, this has to be a down cut blade, or should be a down cut blade, so you don't have chipping. Plunge cut. By just going down. Take it very slow and it will eat through, and then you're all set to start doing your cutout. Once you get most of the way through, you're gonna wanna either reach up underneath here, better cut a hole here by the edges or something, so you can hold the countertop while you finish the cut so it doesn't drop on you. You can take and put a hole here, put a 2x4 across, and take some rope or something, Romex wire, anything, so it attaches to the 2x4, and then your countertop won't drop when you finish a cut. You know, so you and cause some damage, maybe break your countertop, chip it out or something because it has so much pressure on it or whatnot. I will do that and show you how I'm going to do that. All right, so all I'm going to do is just cut a hole with my jigsaw right here in the center to show you that. Find something that will hold my countertop up. It's going to be pretty heavy, so this is a cut off 3/4 inch piece of plywood. That should be enough. You can actually the easiest thing to do, instead of putting a rope in here to help kind of hold this up, because you're going to have to have extra holes here. Screw right through the countertop from this 3/4 inch. It'll hold your counter after you make these cuts. Okay? So we'll get some cuts around here first. You can take your jigsaw and do this whole line if you want. If you have a blade for a circular saw, and you can do it, you just might get some chip out. So be very careful. The tape will help out with this, and you can do most of your straight lines with this, and it'll be a lot quicker than just do the curves with your jigsaw. You're going to want a teeth on this as a finish cut as best as possible, so you don't get any chip out. If there's a little bit of chip out, it's not going to matter because you got 1/2 inch of play for the lip to go over it. So pretty much what you're going to do is plunge cut just like I did with the jigsaw. Oh, that was a lot quicker than, there was a lot more dust. This kitchen sink is going to go in here pretty tight because I didn't get it on the outside of lines like I wanted to, so I'll probably have to trim it back up. Like I said, I'm going to take some screws and screw this right to the countertop. Just take some screws and screw right to the countertop. And that'll hold your countertop from dropping. Completely through the countertop. And your countertop is right Test fit your sink. Well, I'm pretty sure it's not going to really fit because I cut it a little too tight. A little too tight. So we got to shave a little off. I shaved a little off where I saw the black line. So a little bit there. We'll see if she flops in. Well, she's not going to flop in back there because I got this stinking clip in. So let me get this clip out for you guys. Broken clip off. Let's try this again. It's almost there. It's actually there. And there's not much wiggle room at all. Tight. So that's good. You can check this. Make sure you're square to the back, which I am, which is 2 inches. So that'll fit. And all this stuff can be pulled off. Pinch in the lip does of the sink, so no worries about that little chip. You're going to silicone the sink down. When I plunged the saw down too, I also came back a little too far, but it's not too deep. So that covers also. Happens to the best of us, Even if you're professional, you do it all the time. Stuff like that happens. Not paying attention, more talking to somebody that are, trying to catch it on camera for you guys. Everybody makes mistakes. As long as you can fix them. Optimal if it wasn't fixable, you buy a new countertop and you're out $100. It is what it is. But see, no show. Fits in there perfect. Like I said, then you silicone in on this whole edge. You're going to want to clean up this edge because it's got gunk from the last time it was placed in. This is actually in a mobile home, so they actually used butyl tape, which is like a caulk tape, but I'm going to re-stick it back in there with silicone. And then you take you're going to want to have at least 2 clips in each thing, like probably 3 at minimum in the long ones, 2 in the side ones. So once you put the silicone in, put it down, and then you can put those and tighten those clips on, and they catch the bottom, they hook to the bottom, with that little jaw there, because this thing slips into here. This sticks out. It's got two little teeth that come up, and when you go to tighten this with a screwdriver, and then this one was broken because the one side, when I went to undo it, it snapped off. These are really kind of cheap metal. When you tighten this up, it's gonna attach with these teeth into the bottom of that countertop and help hold it down. And within a day or so, the silicone will be dry. So other than that, that's it. All right. Thanks for watching, guys. All right, bye.